Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls, coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share a card that I made using the Blooming Peach Blossom from In Love Arts die set. And I used the die to make the background paper, which looks sort of a faux embossing, and then I used it there. And I saved some room up there for my sentiment, which I haven't decided who the card's going to, so I haven't put a sentiment on it. But it goes together super fast. Doesn't take, really, it's just paper, a little bit of ink to color the die cuts, and then just some glue. So it goes together really quick. So let me show you how it's made. So to create my background, I've already done it, but what I did is I took the die set, this Blooming Peach Blossom die set, and I cut it twice out of dark green cardstock. So I cut it out of white here because that's going to go on the top. But for the background, I just cut it out of this same dark green cardstock that I'm going to use for my back matte layer. And I cut it once here and once, and I just cut it out and then I glued it on flat. So see, it's completely flat. And it just gives you that sort of faux embossed look. And I'm going to glue that onto my card base. And then I'm going to put my white layer that I'm going to color on top. And you could actually make this card either a vertical or a horizontal this way. I'm going to set that to the side. And now I've cut this out of white, and I just cut the whole thing out of just a plain white cardstock. It's not a shimmer cardstock, it's just a plain white cardstock. And I'm going to color it with my inks. And I'm going to start with my branches and my leaves, and I've got a water reactive ink. It's a Friar Brown, and I'm just going to kind of give my branches a little bit of color. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but now you could just cut it out of brown cardstock or something, and then cut it again out of green and cut the leaves out and glue on top. And I thought about doing that, but I just decided to use my inks because I didn't care if it was exact. Looking for sort of the look of a tree and branches of reality as opposed to true reality. And then I've got the same water reactive ink in a pine tree, which is kind of a dark greenish color. I'm gonna put some green on my leaves, and again, I don't necessarily want them to be, or expect them to be solid. I want them just sort of a soft. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I almost wish I would have done it with some watercolors, but that's okay. Okay, there's my greens. And it's called Peach Blossom, but I think they kind of look like cherry blossoms or apple blossoms. So I'm going to color them with kind of a plum colored ink, but just very, very lightly. And I'm just going to kind of, oop, that's much darker than I was wanting to do. Maybe I'll just do the edges. I think I'll just do the edges. And it's actually a little bit harsher color than I wanted, this one in particular. So I've got a thing, this is just plain water. And I'm just gonna kind of spritz it. And this is not watercolor card, it's just plain card. But I'm just gonna kind of spritz it from up high, and I think I'll do my branch as well. And again, it's a water reactive ink, so it's gonna react to the water. I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute because I want that ink to react. And now I'm just gonna dry it so that it stops and set it to the side to dry. See how that just kind of softened the color and the blooms? We're gonna set those to the side, and you can let them dry naturally. I'm going to get my heat gun out and dry them. All right, so these are all dry, and you can see because this is not watercolor card, when it got wet, it kind of curled the cardstock up a little bit, which I actually like. I think it gives it a little more definition. And then I'm going to put this onto my card right on top of that background, just like that. And then I'll put my blooms on, and then I'm going to save room for a sentiment. Let's see, probably right up here. As if you watch my channel, you'll know I don't generally put sentiments on my card when I'm making them because I'm not sure what I'm going to use them for. So let me go ahead and get this glued on. If you've watched me before, you kind of know how I glue some of this stuff. I take my tacky glue. Do not do this if you have sensitive skin. And if you've never done it before, you know, kind of give it a try on a small area first. And then you just dip the die cut into the glue on your hand. And you try not to get the glue on your hand too thick. And then once you get it down, don't move it because otherwise the glue is going to smear. Okay. Now what I am going to do for these, I want those centers defined just a little bit more. I've just got a watercolor pen in sort of a greenish yellow, and I'm just dotting right around that center. So I just want to define the center of those blooms. And the die actually embosses a little center in there, so it's actually really easy to figure out where you want to. And I don't want a solid color, I'm just kind of putting some dots in there. I think that just defines those centers nicely. And then I'm going to add on my blooms. And for these, you can use the method on your hand or just regular glue, or actually I might use my 3D glue. Just like that. And then, like I said, I've got room for my sentiment right up here on the top. Well, that's so pretty. I really like that. And it just gives you that kind of embossed look in the background. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, well, hope you like that. Thanks for watching.